Hey everyone, hope you're good. Hope you've all had a really good day. I just wanted to nip on really quickly and show you guys just basically a bit of an overview of Canva and how you can create a really amazing logo. Because I know that a lot of my group mastermind clients and actually a few of the VIP clients are all at this stage where they're trying to pull together their branding, their colours, logos, fonts, and all of these things. And if you're not an overly creative person, it can seem really tricky, and it's something that until you break through the barrier and you have those visuals of your business, it's almost as if you can't move forward. So I wanted to just come on really quickly and show you guys how to make a really simple and really quick logo, and actually you can build your whole brand really quickly on Canva, which is just amazing. So Canva, if you haven't seen it or used it at all so far, is basically a graphic design platform, but it's made for the non-graphic design people. It's really simple to use. It's a drag and drop interface. There's lots and lots of templates that you can see here for just about everything, actually. Just about anything you would be looking to make, there is a template for that, and this gives you a little bit of an idea. So some of them, it's really just a case of being able to swap the image and swapping the text, and that's, you've got a really professional looking image that you can post on social media or on your website or wherever, or even just, letterheads, anything at all you can make in here. But for the purpose of this today, I'm going to have a wee look at the logo section and just show you how to go about building a logo in here. Super easy. Okay, so that's us into the logo template section. Now, as you can see, there is lots and lots of different pre-made ideas in here, which is amazing because, as I said before, if you're not super creative, it gives you the option to just change the text and the colors even, and have something that looks really professional. In the first instance, if you have the budget to get a graphic designer, I would always recommend you do that. Graphic designers will make you something really amazing and super unique to you, whereas Canva obviously has its limits, let's say, because you can't, for instance, make metallic font in Canva. So this really lovely rose gold is all in at the minute. The rose gold font looks amazing, but you can't create that in Canva. So in those kind of instances, you would need to go to a graphic designer. But if you don't have that budget, which a lot of you won't have in the early days, or you feel like if you can make it yourself, then obviously it's a good saving, then this is a brilliant tool. Okay, so for the purpose of just giving you a few sort of examples, I'm going to go with this really super easy, personalized template first of all, just to show you how you go about just changing them. So this one's lovely. The font isn't maybe necessarily what you would want. It's obviously not saying your name for a start, but the font might not be up your street. You might love this kind of swirly colour in the background, but you don't love the colour, so that's absolutely fine. So let's go in and edit this. Okay, so let's start off with the colour. So with any branding, you should have colours that you've chosen. Minimum of 2, maybe up to a maximum of about 5. You would have one primary main colour, and then you would have an accent colour, and then you would obviously always have a font colour, which 9 times out of 10 is black. But then you can have a few other individual colours that maybe just pull into certain aspects of maybe images that you use or anything like that. But let me have a little nosy and I'll show you. So if you're at the beginning of building your brand and building your colours and things like that, I would always recommend Pinterest as a starting point. So I was basically on here earlier having a little look, but in the search engine part of it, pop in branding design. You've got some sort of, there's branding design inspiration. So go on and have a little, here we are. So there's some really lovely ones. This one here is particularly nice with all those lovely sort of, neutral tones. If you move down, these are just great for inspiration. So here's the marble and the pink and the grey, which is really popular at the minute. This one's lovely with the mint as well. Really like this one. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to choose this one because this is really speaking to me, let's say. So all these colours are really lovely. So what we want to do is go into the actual original image if it's there. So oops, scroll all the way down to the bottom. So let's pop into there and let's see what comes up. So branding and identity. So here we go. So here's the colours here. How lovely are these? Really nice, soft, neutral colours. But what we want to do is, well, how do we get that colour? How do we incorporate those colours into our logo? So let's, for instance, let's go for, I'm saying, well, the one that was there is already similar to that colour. So let's go with the original, which is a lovely, soft, kind of peachy colour. How do you go about getting that exact colour? Okay, so this, what you're looking at here, my browser, is Google Chrome. I would highly recommend it if you don't have it already. It just is easy to use. There's lots of really amazing applications you can add on to it. Up here you can see some of mine. So this little one here is called the Colour Pick Eyedropper. Now this basically is a little tool that will allow you to grab what is called the hex code. Now every colour has got something called a hex code, and that essentially is just a series of numbers that identifies that colour, and it means that you can then go and use it in the likes of Canva. So let me show you how to do it. So once you, basically all you do to get this is you Google in Google Chrome, Colour Pick Eyedropper, it'll come up and you download it, and then it'll come up here on your browser. So once it's here, that's it done. And all you're doing is clicking into it to get it to work. Okay, so once that little square, not square, little cross guy comes up, then we're basically wanting to kind of drag it and drop it into, let's have a wee look, sometimes you need to refresh the picture. Here we go. So once we get this little guy up, so basically hover over the colour and click, and that little series of numbers there that you see is your hex code for that colour. So you can see it's already been highlighted, so all I want to do is go up and copy it so that I can paste it over in Canva. So I'm going to nip back over to Canva, and then this little bit at the back here, so you'll see these little lines pop up when you hover. So this one is obviously this font that I'm hovering over here, so to change the font, but I'm wanting to actually change this little guy at the back, so we need to, that's us. And so once you've highlighted that, the colour of it comes up here. So we're wanting to change it. So it already gives you, this is my brand colours, which is saved in my Canva. It gives you the document colours, which is these, and then it'll give you a default palette, but none of these we want to use, so we actually want to add the colour, and this comes up. Now this here is where you then paste your little hex code into. There we go. And that's you, you've got it, you've got those colours. So let's say I'll pop in my name. So it's Alexis, Miller. Now, I'm not overly loving that font, so let's have a wee look at different fonts. Now, in here I've got my branded fonts. I've also got fonts that I've uploaded, which you can do from buying them on a site called creativemarket.com. Some of them are really reasonable. I mean, you're talking sometimes under $10, you know, $10, $15, things like that. Really, really amazing site for fonts, but basically once you've bought it and you've downloaded it, you can then upload it into Canva. So here's a few different ones, so let's have a little look. Let's have a look at that one. How does that look? That's nice. Canva also have all their own fonts, so let's have a little look. Is there another kind of swirly one that looks nice? It's a case of just going through and having a little look, because you might like the look of the font, but once it's actually on your image, it might not just connect with you. So it's something that you need to play about with a little bit to see what you like. Let's have a look at that one. That's nice. So this little section, you can pull the box out so that it'll move it slightly. You can obviously change, you can change the size of the font. So we might want it a little bit bigger, maybe just too big. Let's go 48, that's perfect. Now, once you get that little, so when you hover over this little box and you get that little cross, that allows you to then move that font to where you want it to be. And you see all those little purple sort of lines that pop up? That's just directing you in how to get it central. So we want it to obviously be central within the image. And here I will pop in, this is where obviously you would put the name of your business if you have a name. Okay, So do you see how really quickly and easily I can make a little logo that basically is branded to me because it's my colours, it's my fonts, etc. It's completely unique because you have essentially designed it with your own hex codes and things. So if you're happy with that, then it's just a case of clicking download. Now here there's two options. Now you can download this as it is with that white square background, or if you click on transparent background and download that, it will essentially only download that little sort of brush stroke. Let me show you again. It will only download the brush stroke and the font. So it means that when you upload it to something and you're dragging it on, then you don't have this square box surround. And it's as easy as that. So let me just show you how to go about, let's get rid of this. So say for instance, you don't want to use any of the templates, you want to kind of build your own. So you go into logo. If you can't find the blank canvas, you can just delete it as I've done there by clicking on it, and then you go top right for deleting. And then you've got a nice blank canvas. So let's have a think about it. What do we want to do here? So first of all, let's have a think. So we'll pop in our name first. Let's get the font right. So let's have a look. What kind of fonts look quite nice? So let's have a look at our swirly one. Let's see what that looks like. That's nice. A little bit big. Let's bring it down a wee bit. And then we can just move it up. Now what might be quite nice is, let's go back to our Pinterest image. There it is. So let's have a look. So that colour might be quite nice. Oops, there we go. So it's actually still on because you were using it before. So let's grab that colour because that's really nice. So again, we just need to copy and paste it. I can't get that. Okay. So, oops, daisies. So let's give this font, oh for goodness sake. Okay, so let's go in, and again, so we don't want to use that colour this time, we want to go in and use this colour that we've just copied and paste it in. There we go. So that's nice. It's maybe a little bit light for an actual logo. Let's have a little look again. I wonder what that one's like. Let's have a look. So it is just a case of playing around. You know, you might have found a set of colours you really like, but actually when you start to put it together, for whatever reason, again, it just doesn't connect. So it is a bit of trial and error. So we'll paste that in, have a look. So that's quite nice. So let's say, for instance, we're going on that theme with the mint and the neutrals and things. Now, at this point, it might be quite nice to add something, you know, add a circle or a square or maybe a nice line or something like that. So let's go for a circle. So maybe a nice circle surrounding that would be quite nice. So in this elements section here, you can search for all things. So you can search for photos, you can search for illustrations, but generally I'll just keep it all so that you can see every sort of option that you've got. Now these little things here, obviously it'll tell you if it's a free option in Canva. Now they do have lots and lots of free options. I haven't actually as yet seen anything that's over $1 if it's not a free option, so that's pretty good. So here we go. So here's the little circles that I mean. So this one's particularly nice. Let's have a wee look. So they're all getting a little bit more complicated. This one's nice. So let's go for this one. So basically, if you like whatever is over here, click on it and then drag it over like this. So obviously this is a little bit big as well. So let's just reduce the size. So these little corners at the side will allow you to resize it. And again, this little cross here will allow you to center it. So once you've got it exactly in the center like that, you're good to go. Now the thing is, this little circle I want in my colors though. So let's go in, and because you've been using these colors, it has saved them. So these three colours here are basically the ones that I have pulled from that Pinterest branding board. So let's click on that one, which might be quite nice for the surrounding. Let's see, maybe I'd want a nice sort of swishy line underneath there. So let's have a wee look and see if they have anything like that. Now what you can do is you can actually be a little bit more specific and say a brush stroke, which is always quite nice. Okay, so there's lots of different options. So you can see here, these are a majority of these are all the paid options, which is $1, which I think probably works out to be about 75 pence, maybe something like that. So in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty reasonable, really. In fact, that's quite nice as well, isn't it? I wonder, because that's quite faint. Let's take that away. And let's try this. Now, the good thing is that it will allow you to play about before you buy. So you don't necessarily need to decide before you buy. You can keep playing about until you get it exactly the way you want it. So again, this colour, I don't want it that colour, so let's change it to the nice mint, which is nice. Now you can see those lines going through it. That basically is because it's a paid option, so that won't disappear until you have paid for this item and downloaded it. So just ignore those little lines in there. It will be just the swirl. So that looks quite nice. So let's have a wee look and see if there's maybe a nice little brush stroke that will just finish that off nicely. So as you can see, there is tons and tons of options. That's the only downside to Canva. You can literally be here playing about, creating lots and lots of really lovely things, probably all day. Let's try this one. What is this like? No, not liking that. Need something a bit thinner. So let's just go back to the line option. Let's see what that comes up with. So you can see, so you just need to be quite specific what you put in. You know, if you're looking for something specific, have a look. Let's see. What kind of calls out to me? I wonder what this looks like. A little kind of swirly. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So let's pop it in the other colour that we've not used yet, which is that sort of nice kind of nudie colour. Now, as you can see, obviously it's too big for a start, so let's reduce that a little bit. But it might be quite nice for that to go behind that text. So if you want to do that, if you want to put something behind something else, then click on whatever it is, and then up here when it says arrange, click on that, and you want to put it back. So you can see those little lines that pop, those little dots that pop up there to the left-hand side when I click that. So that means when it's all the way back, when you can't take it back anymore, it's behind absolutely everything. So let's see, let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's take that back as well. So if it's not allowing you to click on something, you need to take whatever is the biggest thing, which is usually your circle, you need to take that back by doing arrange and taking it right back, and then it will allow you to go on and edit everything else in front of it basically. So let's have a look. I want to make this a little bit bigger. Now, let's have a look. If you can't see arrange, sometimes it's in this little more section, which is odd. Let's take that back. Not overly loving that swirl, but for the purpose of showing you, oops, if you by accident remove the font, you can just go up and click undo and it will put it back on for you, which is good. Yeah, I'm not overly loving that little swirl thing, but for the purpose of showing you how to actually build something, then it's good in the sense that it gets to show you how to put things forward and behind. That looks pretty nice, I think. Let's have a look. Nice little arrow could be good. So again, you can just always reduce the size of things to see, and then always change the colour. So as I said before, it takes a little bit of getting used to if you've never been in and messed about with things like this before. But once you get the hang of it, you'll understand how you make things bigger, how you move things around, etc. But generally, it's pretty easy. So that right away just starts to create a really nice logo for you. So again, with a logo like this, I would always recommend that you download it as a transparent background. It just means then that you're not going to have that big square round it. And basically that is you. So because I've got one paid option on there, you'll see it pop up. So you'll have to pay for that little option. So once you've already got your details logged in, it's just a case of purchase and download, and it will just do it automatically. But as I said, I've not seen one thing that's been over $1, which is pretty amazing. So I'll quickly show you in that elements section all the different sort of things you can do. So they've got free photos in there. So if you were creating, say for instance, you were creating an ebook and it was all on, say, recipes and things like that, you could pop in something like breakfast. Let's have a wee look and see if there's some nice breakfast options. So there you go, lots and lots of free images, which is good. And you can just literally search for anything in there. So anything at all that's related to your business, then you'll be able to find an image in there, and 9 times out of 10 they're free. If not, they will be $1, which is pretty amazing. But also there's the illustrations part of things, so you can get illustrated versions of things, which is pretty cool. And a lot of the time you can change the colours of these too to basically brand your colours. So say for instance that shoe, you wanted that as part of either your logo or within something you were building, you can change that into your branded colours as well. So that's quite cool. What else have we got here? So grids. So this is something if you were needing to put a photo on something. So let me just really quickly get rid of all of this. So if you wanted the photo to basically fit this sort of size perfectly, then you would drag this over. And then what you need to do is go into your upload section. So this is where you would upload your own images. So for the purpose of this, because it's quick, you just drag your picture over once you've uploaded and it's in here, and it will grab it and it will make it sized perfectly. So that's how you do that, which is quite cool. That's grids. Frames. Again, this will be, so the image is there, but then it creates these little sort of coloured parts of it. So let me just show you quickly if I get rid of that. So say for instance like this, you wanted to put this on. You need to sort of make sure that it obviously fits perfectly. Okay, so the image basically when you drag and drop it on there, will go behind that little section, and it means then that you could quite easily go and it looks much better to go and put text on top of that now, which would make it much clearer to actually read once it's on there. You can change, obviously a nice white would pop with that, make it bold, make it bigger. And then if it goes like that, you can always stretch the box so that it actually moves and it creates the full. So you see how you can start to create really cool images with things like that. So that's in the frames section. Shapes is pretty cool. It's something that I use quite a lot. Let me just show you if I get rid of this. So the shape section, so say for instance I was going to make something for Instagram, say a post, and okay, so a nice image that I would use would be something like this. So drag that over, and then what I would want to do is go back into the elements section, right, so into shapes, and most of the time I will use the square, so I'll drag that across. I want to change the colour because it's to be branded for my business, so that's my pink that I use. Now this is quite cool because this will then pull back the transparency on this square, so you'll start to see that image underneath. And then what I would want to do is resize it so that it's not taking up the whole image, but but this is somewhere that I would now obviously make sure it's central. So once you move it about, there we go, it's bang on the centre. So once you get it in there, that's somewhere that I would now go and lay some text on top of it, whatever it may be. And obviously change the font and stuff like that. Oh, that is my font. And then you can use this little tool here to make it uppercase to see what it looks like. And then obviously change the colour and things. But that's quite a cool little thing, because it just means that you still see the image, but it will allow your text to pop through. And if you feel that it's not popping through enough, you can always then go back in and change that transparency again to make it a little bit deeper, and you'll really make sure that your text really pops through. So that's quite cool. So that's kind of what I would generally use for the shapes. And then quite self-explanatory, obviously there's lots of different lines in there. Illustrations is what I showed you a minute ago, so you can search in there for lots and lots and lots of different illustrations to make quite cool things with that. And yeah, icons, landscape, it's broken it all down. But generally, if you're looking for something, you can just search for it up here, and it will come up with options of seeing all, or that's just illustrations. So let's get into photos. Really nice. So you can see the mixture of the free options and the paid options there, or just get into all and you'll get all of the options together. And you can start to create anything really on here. But in terms of logos, it is pretty easy to start building them. But what I would always say is go into Pinterest and get some inspiration first, because I think if you go straight into Canva, then you'll kind of get a bit lost on what you're doing in terms of colours and things like that. Whereas on here, if you search for the branding boards, it means it will give you a really great idea with, you know, the really nice colour combinations, what works well with different fonts, you know, things like that. And you'll get to, and actually there'll be, even if you go into actually looking at branding logos, there might be more inspiration to actually build something from one. Oh, here we go. So here's really nice options here. So these are pre-made ones. So this is nice. So these are things that you can make pretty easily on Canva. It's just getting the right font like this, and having the circles and just playing about with it. But first stop, I would definitely hit Pinterest to get the idea first, and then it will give you something to actually build on. You know, it'll give you an idea of what you like. Same with the circles. You can search for the squares and the rectangles and change them into your branded colour too. You can change a square into, like, you know, that kind of formation. Let me show you quickly how you do that. So say for instance you've got this, but I want it kind of off. I don't want it square like this. This little thing at the bottom, if you click and hold it, you'll be able to rotate anything to where you want it to be. So obviously this is slightly off square, so it looks a little bit odd, but you can see essentially what I mean by that. And then if you're, which is quite nice, so it looks quite nice, so you can really play about. So I hope that's given you a good starting point on how to go about actually building a logo. But worst case scenario, I would always just, you know, stick to the templates. You know, there's so many templates that you can really quickly and easily make your own, essentially, which is good. So this is already done, so there we go. So we can just literally quickly change the colours, change it into that, change what it says, and then change the colour of that. So change it to the nice mint colour. And, you know, really quickly, within minutes, you've got something that looks like a logo that's for your business. And it's just a case of playing around with what works. There we go, looks pretty nice and pretty quick. So there's lots and lots of options in here, which is really good. So if you are someone that's not hugely creative, then stick to these. However you can, if you are quite creative and you like to build your own, then definitely go for the branding inspiration on Pinterest, and then just start playing about with all the different elements that you can add and take away. But I hope that has really helped you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're all creating. If you create something really amazing, then please share it in the community. That would be amazing. So thank you so much, guys.